One day the boss, suspicious of his employees, decides to test the loyalty of his employees, so he decided to put a certain amount on a table under a plate. Then an employee goes to the table to withdraw and finds the value left by him, and without knowing that she is being observed, she looks to one side and another takes the value and puts it in her pocket. He continues with the test. He watches to see if no one is watching and puts a certain amount under the table lining and then leaves to observe. At that moment another employee arrives to remove the table, complaining about the mess that is on the table, so she starts to remove things and notices the money under the table lining. So she looks this way and that, takes the money, putting it in her apron pocket, and then goes out and makes a call to her friend confirming the trip she had in mind, saying that she got the money and that everything was going to be all right. Then the boss arrives and she says that she is leaving, so he asks if she has anything to say to him. She then said that it's all right, she's just going to end the call and then she will. The next day he repeats the same process. Only now leaving the value under a remote control and watching. So there's the cleaning lady doing her job, and suddenly she comes across that value there out of nowhere. She picks it up, checks it, and looks up like she's asking God what she should do. So she returns it to the same place and is there thinking about what to do, then takes it again and puts it in her pocket and immediately leaves. The boss was watching their leave soon after. Indignant at what was happening, he found it hard to believe what he saw during those days. He summoned his employees to expose what was happening in his establishment and began by saying that he called them because an unbelievable thing happened in that very place. Then he starts saying that a customer had lost a certain amount there and he wanted to know which one had found the money. The first says he didn't see it, the second also confirms he didn't see it, and the third just shakes his head no. Then he says it's not possible if the money was there and was going to disappear out of nowhere, so the money would have to show up, and if it didn't show up by the end of the day the three would be sent away. So one says she's sure it wasn't her. The other is also sure, and the third says she's been working there for over 20 years and that has never happened to her. So the boss says that if the money doesn't show up, they'll all be sent away, and while the boss says he's going to keep his word and fire everyone if the money doesn't show up, at that moment the first one passes the value to the second one, who gathers with what was in his pocket and slips it unnoticed into the pocket of the cleaning lady's uniform. So boss says that everyone will have to put everything they have in their pockets on the table, and now you can take everything out of your pocket and put it here on the table. The first one says that she doesn't have anything in her pockets, the second one too, and then the third one comes in and the other one comes in asking if she wasn't going to see what she had in her pocket too, so they insist that she show what's in her pockets. So she puts her hand in her pocket and to her surprise the money is there, while she soon says that the money is not hers and that she would never do that to him. Then the boss confirms that everything is okay, and the other two want to know why everything is okay if the money was with her. Then the boss calls the lady and says that from that moment on, the position of manager of this company and this establishment would be hers. She in disbelief says, what do you mean mine? While the others indignantly said he's going crazy calling her a thief. No, she can't. Then he says that he can't afford to have them as employees and then explains that you were the only one who, upon finding the money, was able to look for it and say that some customer had forgotten it and that she went to him to return it. He thanks her and congratulates her on her honesty. So she asks him if she might be taking the leftovers from the customers' plates home. He then wants to know why she wants the leftovers from the dishes. She then explains that her daughter is unemployed and her grandchildren are in need and she needs to take these leftovers to the children. So the boss doesn't accept it and says that she can make a lunch box every day and take it to her grandchildren and that she doesn't have to worry. She enters, thanks greatly, saying that he has no idea how much he is helping her. At that moment, one of the employees said that if it wasn't her or the lady, then it was the other one who took the money. Then the boss says that it's enough and that it's all over, so he opens the game that no one lost money and that yes, he did a test and they lost and that he was the one who put the money to test and find out who his employees really are. And it looks like you didn't pass the test and that you can't be trusted and that's why the two of you are fired and call them dishonest. One of them said it was absurd and that she had never been so humiliated in her entire life. The other took off her apron and threw it on the table. And the boss says that she will have to find a way to finance her trip and that it won't be with her money. The two leave the establishment immediately. Meanwhile, the lady who was promoted, not knowing what to say, just apologizes. He says that she doesn't have to apologize for anything and that in fact she helped him a lot to discover the types of employees he had in his company. So she asks if she will be a real manager. He says yes and that he needs honest people to work with him and that she already has many years in the company and for sure she knows how to do a lot of things and that would be a pleasure to have her as a manager. She in disbelief simply thanks him, and he doesn't know how much her new salary will help her. So she thanks him again.